How's it going, everybody? Today's video is going to be what is ME? I've made a lot of videos about ME, life with ME, symptoms with ME, but there are a lot of new people that have come down with this illness, and they're often asking in the comments and support groups, well, what is ME? Well, ME stands for myalgic encephalomyelitis. It's a mouthful, so we stick to ME. There's debate whether it should be called ME, CFS, all these things, but most people go by ME or ME CFS. So I'm just going to do a quick description of what ME is. I have videos about symptoms, life with it, finding a doctor. I've made playlists about this. I encourage you, if you're new, to go look at those, or someone else's channel who is about ME, to learn a little bit about what the illness is like. There's a lot to learn, and I think it really helps people when they learn about the illness they're dealing with. So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet here, so I'll go as fast as I can. The National Institutes of Health, which I'll link in the description, describes ME as a serious, chronic, complex, and systemic disease associated with neurological, immunological, autonomic, and energy metabolism dysfunction. So it's a complex illness, and it has hallmark symptoms. Now, there are a ton of symptoms that ME causes, and it's different in everyone. That's something that's important to remember. Everyone's different. That's why it's so hard for doctors to treat and understand, because everyone presents in a different fashion. But there are 3 or 4 hallmark symptoms. Now, I have a video of 20 symptoms that ME causes, and I'm going to put that up here somewhere. Not sure what side. I'll do a little card, and you can take a look at that, see if you relate to that or not. But I'm just going to keep it basic today, just so you have an idea, an overview of what ME is. Now, the most common symptom of ME is chronic fatigue, or CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome. That's the most common symptom, and that's people that have suffered from severe fatigue lasting more than 6 months. I would say that's probably the most common symptom that people with ME have, followed by brain fog. Some people it's reversed. They have a lot more brain fog, and then fatigue is second. Like I said, everyone's different, but brain fog is another big one that people deal with on a daily basis. The third symptom, which I don't know if it's really a symptom or more of a result of activity, it's post-exertional malaise, also known as PEM. PEM is when you overdo it. There's a million reasons and videos and details about how this works, but essentially you overdo it, you cause a crash or a flare-up of your symptoms, and it's pretty unique to ME. There are a couple other illnesses that also have PEM, but it's few from what I understand. And people with ME often have that. They overdo it, then they crash, which causes more CFS, more brain fog, and then more of those 20 symptoms that I list in that video. So it's important to really be mindful of your health constantly. One thing to remember is a lot of people come down with ME after a virus or an infection. It doesn't have to always be severe. Sometimes people just get a moderate flu, and then they tend to not fully recover several months later. They have lingering fatigue, lingering brain fog, PEM, and that's when they start to wonder maybe what's going on. They start YouTubing, Googling, and they see ME pop up or CFS, and they start to wonder. And that's why I have this video. So if you've had fatigue and brain fog and PEM for over 5-6 months, I think it's important to talk to your doctor. It's also important to find an ME literate doctor to help you kind of understand what's going on. That brings me into my next point. There isn't a specific test for ME. It's more of an exclusionary diagnosis, which means they exclude all the other things it could be. It's very similar to the diagnosis of MS. They have to rule out all these other illnesses in order to come down to MS. But there are some indicators. There are some indicators in blood tests. There are some indicators in CPET testing. And your doctor will know much more than I do on how to diagnose ME. So it's important to find someone that knows what they're doing. There are doctors out there that haven't really caught up to learning about ME. And doctors got a lot on their plate. They got a lot of patients, so I understand. But it's very, very important, if you think you might have ME, to find someone who's ME literate and is up with all the new studies and all the new things that have come out. A lot has happened over the last 5 years. So to summarize, ME is a multisystemic illness. It's very hard to diagnose. Unfortunately, there's no cure. There are some treatments that work for some people, not everybody. It's vital to find an ME literate doctor, and it presents different in everyone. So it's a very complex illness, and you need a doctor that's really going to be dedicated to helping you figure out what's going on. There are a lot of videos out there on YouTube that are great, that describe what ME is like, things that work. I have playlists, I'll put them up here somewhere, and lots of videos that I've made about life with ME. I recommend watching my videos or someone else's videos that has lived with ME for a long time so that you can learn as much as you can. That's really the most important thing you could do right off the bat, is educate yourself on what the illness is like, what other people have gone through, and hopefully you don't have to go down the long path that I had to go down and kind of learn everything on the fly. Hopefully videos like that I have or that other people have, or resources on the internet, can help you speed up the process of educating yourself on the illness to not make all the mistakes that we had to make. So hopefully everyone's feeling well out there. Until next time, take care.